and welcome back to Austin Talks, where today we are covering a video I have been meaning to record for a while, but never got around to it, but until now. But it is a very interesting video, and a video I've actually been looking forward to recording. So I'm not going to ramble on here, I'm just going to get straight into it, because this Monsterverse is looking really, really good right now. So, for those who don't know, this whole universe started in the 1950s. The title of was actually known as the early days of the Kaiju universe. This is not actually known as the Monsterverse, as many people call it. It's actually known as the Kaiju-verse, and yet the title was a Monsterverse. But anyway, in the 1950s, it was a very rocky start. But unfortunately, however, it was not that's not what I'm here to speak on. I'm not here to speak on the early days. But in the early days, when they were first released, they were considered like outstanding movies, and the CGI. The CGI then was revolutionary but like now we think, oh, it was really bad. But you gotta admit, 1950s television just stopped rising. It is incredible. It is very incredible. And it was also very different from what we've seen in the past. I mean, if you watch the Kaiju universe, you'll know it's very different from, like, say, Charlie Chaplin even, and it's very different. And it was successful at first. However, it is very different now. But the whole universe did start in the 1950s. But that's what I need to make, like, what you need to make very clear. And if you consider where we are now, that is a pretty big leap. It is it's been a long period of time, and the early days of the Kaiju universe is roughly where it started off, and it was very good. Now, if you've watched the Kaiju universe, I think you'll know who these two characters are. The original characters of the Kaiju universe were obviously Godzilla and Kong. At the time, Kong was actually not considered a Kaiju character, but for the sake of this video, he is. So these were the two common ones, and if you look at the quality, you may think the quality is bad. If you look at the quality of the of the ones then, it is amazing. And I heard a couple of, and like how it works is someone dresses up in the suit and then actually goes around playing as him. It's the same with Kong. Now all they do is they just character size enlargement. How much by times 110 plus 15 times the hypotenuse of the back of Kong. It's amazing. And the amount of detail that went into it, goes into it now, is amazing. Don't get me wrong, but then look at this. This was the 1950s, and you can't. I mean, yes, there's a very big difference. Godzilla does not look that different. I'm sorry, neither does Kong, to be fair. They don't look that different, but it is astonishing how far they have come since then. Because at the end of the day, this has been a 70-year journey. I would, it's longer than the MCU. And the MCU started off, yes, it is very much bigger. It started out more modern. This started out a lot earlier, but it probably isn't as big. But it's still just incredible. Now, I have not actually watched these. I don't think you can actually watch these anymore. Mainly because I can't find them anywhere. I can't find them on my TV. I cannot find them on any service. I cannot find them anywhere. It's not like they do DVD stores anymore. But I can't find these anywhere. But these were the best, according to online other sources like reviews, Rotten Tomatoes. These were the best old Kaiju Monsterverse movies. Unfortunately, I can't watch these, as I've just said. But these movies also, as I say, started in the 1950s. All of them were released then, and they were actually really popular. And these did these really did establish the lore for the story. So the tribe that can be seen, there's a lot of tribes in these movies, like the people who worship Godzilla, Mothra, and Kong. That's actually been carried over to here, and I think that really does add to the depth of the storyline. Now, nowadays, these movies are slated. I just think that because they don't realize how far in evolutionary senses this franchise has come, but they are very important. Now they have different names. They have very, very different names, but Godzilla's actually not called Godzilla, it's called Gojira. Mothra is, I think, Mothra, and then King Kong is King Kong. But they had the lore is still important from these movies, and I think that's what we all need to remember. And the new Godzilla -1 was a revamped version of these old movies. It was a revamped version of the Kojiro movie, and it was the perfect way to interpret old cinematography in a new evolved era of cinematography. Godzilla -1 was just astonishing, and it mixed all of those elements of the olden day movies into new modern cinematography. It was just, oh my god, amazing. By far the best kaiju Monsterverse movie. It was actually just a kaiju movie. Best movie ever. I'll take that. Yeah, so there was an establishment, obviously, in 2014. There was an establishment of the new kaiju Monsterverse. Obviously, this was when the first Godzilla movie came out, and this is now me going through all of those movies and everything else that went along with it. So this will be very good, very, very good to do. So, Godzilla, which was released in 2014, was the first movie to be a part of the this universe, and what is funny about this was it was released. Was at the time it was released, it was said to be a standalone movie. I think that's quite funny considering how far we are now. But they also released then the Kong movie, but then they didn't. Then they established, oh yeah, this is actually part of the same universe. So yeah, that was weird. This was also an okay movie. It definitely could have been better, but it was very good in introducing a new era of classical monsters, which is what Godzilla and Kong actually have been made into, classical monsters. You can see Kong. I mean, I don't know if you can say they're really like Frankenstein, but Kong, I don't know. But they are classical monsters to how we see them now. It also shows the depths of power in that Godzilla, and it definitely shows how big and tall, scary these people are, and how terrifying he really is. Yeah, this Kong was Kong Skull Island was released in 2017, and in 2017 this was probably the most popular movie of the year, and it was very well received. However, the same cannot be said for the the same cannot be said for the the animated show. That was really badly received. I can't believe that. And they chose a very good one. They chose a very good character to do this. And I love the subtitle, All Hail the King. I love that. It's very good. Now, it was during this movie that during this year that they established that both Kong and Godzilla were a part of the same universe. And then they came out with King of the Monsters. This also showed a very wide range of titans, and which can be seen in the upcoming movie. And the best part was that the contrast of perspective, because many people thought he was an enemy, but in reality he was a protector, and that's all he was. All he was doing was protecting his own universe. Oh no, his own place. And it says from the producers of Godzilla, and then, wouldn't you know it, it was the same guy. It was the same universe. Boom. That clap was a lot louder than I thought it would be. So, yeah, 2017. So in 2019, I saw this in cinema. I didn't see Godzilla, King of the Monsters in cinema. This one I did. So, Godzilla King of the Monsters was released in 2019, and this movie was actually a really weird mix-up because it showed that Monarch was actually the same people from Kong Skull Island. They really did take that from another level, and but they didn't really have a co-appearance from Kong Skull Island and anything else. So that's why I think Godzilla King of the Monsters is a very good standalone movie as it is. And however, this provided a character development for Godzilla alone, and it showed that Godzilla wasn't actually the only major titan. I think that the fact that they added Rodan, Mothra, and Ghidorah was actually a very good impact, and Ghidorah was a real good villain to have, and it gave us a glimpse of who the real king really was, because Godzilla was the king, but he was challenged, and then he asserted his dominance. He revealed to be, real king was revealed to be Godzilla. We all knew that. And the best part was that it only took 2 years later, but then Godzilla came in and just went, I want that title, please. Please. I want that title. And then he comes in and does this. Godzilla versus Kong. Yep. He was like, I ain't having this. I like how they released this in, so they released it in theaters and on streaming services. The Godzilla vs. Kong was a bit weird, but yeah. Now, this movie wasn't well received, and I understand why. However, a lot of people think it's the other way around. I think King of the Monsters was great, and people who think Godzilla vs. Kong was bad. That's what I think. But other people think it's the other way around. King of the Monsters was bad, and Godzilla vs. Kong was great. I just don't agree with that. And based on the lore of the Monsterverse, the Mechagodzilla, oh my lord, that was a shambles. And this movie, it did execute that to a certain degree. The Mechagodzilla was good, but it could have been better. This movie didn't use Godzilla's powers to the best of its ability, making him come off as no longer the king. Yes, King Kong won against the person that can literally use his atomic breath. Yep. Thank you, everyone. This totally makes a lot of sense. So, just to put that in perspective, someone that can breathe fire and atomic energy, like Superman, against a really tall giant ape, and the ape won. I'm sorry, but was Godzilla just on one of those days? He's like, oh, I can't be bothered. I'm gonna sleep in, but he's invading my home, so I'm gonna just try and get him out of my house. It's like one of them scenarios. Now, this movie, this movie was really hyped up, and I think that's why some people thought this was a bit of a letdown. And the fact that Godzilla and Kong was going to fight, I thought it was so funny, but it was really anticlimactic as well, and I didn't want it to come off that way. And the last good thing about the movie is that it was the introduction, I can't speak today, to Hollow Earth, which is actually based on, which we'll actually touch on a bit more in the upcoming movie. Obviously, not King of the Monsters, Godzilla X Kong, not versus Kong, X Kong. And they will have I do think that will have a tremendous impact on the storyline. And Hollow Earth is a really good concept, if you ask me. Yeah. This movie looking good. Godzilla X Kong is looking good. Now, this was said to be released next year, and is one of the most hyped movies of the year. I can't believe this was actually supposed to be released in 2025. But Godzilla has actually turned into, basically, I've gone sicko mode, and Kong has a child. He doesn't have a child, but Scar King has a tribal child, I guess. And then he went, no, I'm not having this. I'm a show. And this is actually making incredible leaps. We obviously had the second trailer, and in the storyline, which actually will, I know the storyline will fascinate a lot of people, and for people who watch it and who really like the channel, we are also introduced to a whole new character in this movie. Well, actually two. We're introduced to Shimu. Well, actually three. Shimu, who is the icy character. The icy monster. Oh, I nearly got that. And the Scar King, who is looking more menacing than ever, and also basically Kong's adoptive son, Zuko, and is basically People are saying he's the biological son of Scar King. I don't think that's true. I think he's just part of the same like tribe, and he ran away and obviously in looking for assistance. Now the movie is looking very hyped up. I don't want it to be the same instance as the other movie. This looks so good. Now. This isn't very important. This movie will be important for the future because this is the make or break moment for this universe. If this movie does not do well, you are not getting anything else. But if this movie does great, I do think they'll expect something else, and which I'll get into in a little bit. Now, so obviously a lot of people are. I would rather wait until what happens with this movie, but people are already saying what is coming next. I'll get onto that in a little bit. So, Monarch Legacy of the Monsters was released last year in, in November, and so I've just started watching it. I know I'm very late on this stuff, I just don't have time, but I just started watching this, and I have a general verdict on the importance of the series. It is very important, and so here it is. So Monarch is basically the secondary factor of this whole franchise. So you're supposed to revolve around Godzilla and you're supposed to revolve around Kong. Those are the two people you are supposed to factor around. That is one. The monsters is one factor, the primary factor. Monarch is the second. And I genuinely think you can't have one without the other, because you would not know about these characters, about these monsters without Monarch. And I think they make that very important. And in the franchise, this series gives perspectives on how Monarch work both positively and negatively. Mostly the second one. Negatively is a very, very key word there. Monarch also show us that the Titans were actually never seen before, and they wanted to keep it obviously under wraps, and they were like, we don't want the world to know about that. And I love how it says some secrets can't be contained. Ain't that the truth? That is the biggest thing I've heard about this franchise. And Monarch also shows us that Titans we have like never seen before that are making cameos. There was one that was like, he had like 5 tentacles around its mouth. I don't know what that was called. But this gives another perspective that Monarch aren't very good at their job. The simplest way to put that. The time change is also very good as well, because this takes place right after Godzilla, the first one, and I think that's a good vary in how they go from Godzilla to Kong Skull Island. Very good. Now there's also a time change, because as much as that's the present day, it also goes back to the past as well. And that is, again, this series is all about perspective, and that's what it does show. And which is why I think that the series is more important storyline-wise than what people are actually giving it credit for. As I know a person that is like, he's a diehard fan for the Godzilla universe, and honestly, people are like, he loves the show, and he loves he can't wait for the upcoming movie. And he's just, I do get it. It's such a good show. A very weird show. It is a slow moving show, but people don't give this show enough credit, I can tell you that for sure. Yes, so this is the potential future for the franchise. I don't know why that picture's not bigger, but anyway. So this is apparently an idea that's floating around this franchise, but since the release of the new trailer, it is evident that Kong will actually have a son of some sort. I don't know what that is. Now, and so this does open doors for the future of the franchise. One theory being that he will get his own movie. Reason for this is a couple decades ago, I kid you not, there was a film regarding the son of Kong, which has actually already been here. So this has been in the talks as a continuation of this and a revamped version in this franchise. And it's been in the talks, and this movie has actually only gotten stronger, with actually looking for validity. Now, with the release of this both trailers, people are saying that this movie is going to be good. Remember, trailers do show you the best parts in the movies. That may be it. But but this movie does have potential to carry on, to create a whole new legacy for itself. Now, the likelihood of this happening is very possible, as it has sort of already been confirmed. But it may very well be cancelled. That can also happen, which means we know it's not happening yet, quote unquote, but it is just yet to be announced. But I think that should be a safe call for after what happens with this movie. Basically it. Now, for the overall rating for this franchise, my overall rating is 9.1. This is a very good universe. And cinema-wise, it burns you. It basically you turn deaf, and it has its flaws like many other movies and franchises. Some worse than others, but this universe was built from classic cinematography, and that's what people are not taking into account. The evolution is so crucial for this franchise, and if you look at how far it's come, I would say it's more important than some other franchises. I'm not going to name names to start up a fight or anything. But if you know, you know. And I'm giving it this score, not scar, because of the rocky road it's actually went through, and because it started with Godzilla, that rocky road started with Godzilla and Kong, and not a lot of people had hope with that. But just saying, however, this is not to discourage a lot of them, because I do have faith in this movie, and I do have the faith in this franchise as well, and the movies that follow. So 9.1 is where I stand. I think this is a very good franchise, and it deserves it more than everyone thinks. That is that video. Well, everyone, that is the end of today's video. I do hope you all enjoy. And if you have any input about the Godzilla universe, please do let me know and drop a comment on the video. And without further ado, I hope you, if you did enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe and comment what else you'd like to see on the channel. And I will see you all in the next one. But I hope you all have a tremendous and wonderful day. Bye!